negotiating. So that's who we got negotiating for us. So yeah, we're screwed. And I don't mean that like I want us to fail. Like I've seen the standard of living in Ontario fall well before Trump was reelected and started making threats against us, against our livelihood. To be honest, hold on, can you hold on one sec? Sorry. Wow, I'm having too many technical difficulties. And it's not all right. That's how you learn. So yeah, this is the guy negotiating. So he spends millions of dollars on TV ads, and then he basically negates all that by talking like a tough guy. And we're not in really the best position economically and militarily and whatever to be talking tough with Trump. But especially Doug Ford's ideologically aligned with Trump, supposedly. He's actually a fake conservative. We'll get into that. But yeah, like he's not going to be, I don't think he's going to be Captain Ontario. I showed you pictures yesterday about Captain Ontario. He ain't going to save us, I don't think. I think we're screwed. But we can talk now about this election. This is the problem we got in Ontario, big problem. Doug Ford. All right. And this is, I don't know this Brian Downey guy. He's probably some left-wing crazy who hates Doug Ford. That's kind of one. The only thing I can agree with him on is we both hate Doug Ford for different reasons. But anyway, Ford wants everyone talking about this election instead of all of his scandals, his RCMP investigation, and his defunding of healthcare, education, and social services. Don't get fooled again. Take back Ontario. Vote Ford out. Okay, that's great. Vote Ford out, but who are we going to put in instead of Ford? Marit Stiles, the NDP leader? Hell no. Hell no. Anything close to what is the federal NDP, which they are. They're all woke, crazy people. Like, look, I think I saw just up here a tweet from Marit Stiles. This is who we have the choice to vote. Doug Ford, globalist sellout, or Marit Stiles, COVID commie. They're both COVID commies, but so she's complaining in 2022 when the Liberals, I believe, when they're starting to get rid of the vaccine passport in Ontario, she didn't want it. She wanted to keep it. Ryan Garrettson writes, this vile individual will be running for Premier of Ontario. She was not only upset the vax passport was ending, she was also angry that the Liberals didn't keep pushing for it to include a third dose. Never forget. Yeah. And by the way, so did the Liberal leader. What was his name? He's the mayor of Vaughan now. God damn it. Don Del Duca? Del Duca. Is his name Don? Anyway, I don't think it's Don, but it's Del Duca. And he wanted the third dose on the Vax Pass. Prick. So anyway, we got Bonnie Crombie for the Liberals this time instead of Del Duca. You can't vote for her either, so. For a lot of Conservative voters in Ontario, they see Doug Ford as the least worst choice. They're like, at least he's not NDP or Liberal, they're worse. Okay, so basically we need an alternative on the right political spectrum to teach Ford a lesson, because this has happened in a long time ago, 1990, I think, in Ontario. We look back in history quick. How about, I'm going to ask Grok. Grok, yes, our political analyst. And the event I'm going to ask about is 1990. David Peterson was the premier of Ontario. He's Liberal. Had a big, I don't know if he had a majority, but he called an early election because he was ahead in the polls, and he thought it was a good opportunity to snag a majority. And I think he had information that the economy was going to head into recession. There was a big housing kind of crash in the early 90s. So I think he wanted to get the election done and out of the way. And he got punished for it. The NDP ended up becoming the majority government, and like nobody was expecting it. Even I don't think the NDP was expecting it. And it was like humiliating. I think Peterson even lost his own seat in London, it was crazy. But the point of this is, in that case, they had the NDP to punish Peterson with. Conservative voters don't have anybody to punish Doug Ford with, and he's managed to sprinkle enough goodies like the license plate renewal fee and the little gas tax relief, and now $200. We're getting $200 in the mail. Right conveniently before an election call. And it's not electronic debit, it's got to be that check, so you see the check and see his name and whatever. So it's like Conservatives are like, we're happy with Doug Ford. At least he's not NDP, he's Liberal. But you know what? He hasn't stopped anything, a globalist agenda, from infiltrating Ontario. It's done it a little slower than other jurisdictions, but not really. In Toronto, it's actually just as fast. But outside Ontario, it's filtered through. He hasn't done anything to, like, I look at Ron DeSantis in Florida, who's been very vocal for years about this woke stuff. Doug Ford and his ministers never talk about it. It's fine, but he's been side by side with Trudeau on so many issues: immigration, COVID, now this Team Canada nonsense. So, like, it's he's not really a conservative is what I'm saying, but there's nobody really to vote for, like a alternative party to put your vote. There's commercials. I think that was Sarnia. Oh. So he spent millions of dollars on these commercials. Government of Ontario. Lots of them. They run constantly. And I know ads are expensive, so he spent millions of taxpayer money, and then he basically opens his mouth and erases it all. It's crazy. And that's the shining example we have. It's a shining example we have of who's going to fight Donald Trump. And I said this before. I said, when Donald Trump was doing billion-dollar real estate deals, whether they